Yo, what's up, everybody? It is time for the weekly Prize Pick Show here on Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff Ketchum, otherwise known as Jeff Lebby New, joined by Jason Suchabel, Alex Dunlap, Anwar Richardson. We're all here to give our predictions for Texas and Mississippi State, while also looking ahead to the weekend for all of our favorite plays, our favorite entries over at Prize Picks. Although, because of the quarterback situation, as of 5 minutes ago, still no Texas picks on Prize Picks. We can give you an idea what to look for. Although, if I'm not mistaken, last week there was an Arch Manning line, and I don't remember anybody else. So
there was not anybody else.
It was Arch and like nothing. It remains to be seen whether or not that will change this week. The big new offer, though, before we get too deep into any of this, Prize Picks has done away with the enter the 100. They'll match 100 for all new users right now. If you're a new user to Prize Picks, play $5, get 50 instantly. They're paying you 10-1 on your $5 investment. Use that promo code OrangeBloods. It's kind of as simple as that. If you've been waiting to play Prize Picks, playing $5 will win you 50. You just have to use that promo code OrangeBloods. So get hooked up. Fellas, it's Mississippi State week. It's not that there's confusion about what's going to happen at quarterback, but maybe some uncertainty. You reported yesterday over on Orange Bloods, a little bit of breaking news that as of Wednesday, Arch still, they list him questionable on the depth chart, or not on the depth chart, about the injury report that comes out last night. You had him at 50-50, questionable somewhat, I think kind of in general, we think of that as 50-50. Arch Manning a little banged up. I'm wondering, is this the week where maybe it's best? What's the point spread? 35? I'm just wondering.
38.
Against a terrible Mississippi State squad, might this be the week where it stays at 25 or 30 instead of 35, 40 or beyond?
25 or 30 what?
Just the margin of victory.
Oh, I mean,
I'm asking, do we think Mississippi State covers?
No, Mississippi State's horrible. Like, there's no way Mississippi State covers.
There's no way?
No, there's no way. There's no way. Mississippi State is a horrible football team. I don't know. I watched that Florida game this past week, and outside of a quarterback who put up some meaningless numbers, they're going to start a true freshman quarterback on the road versus the number one team in the country with an inept offense, an inept defense, and a team that was making a ton of mental errors against Florida. No, Mississippi State is horrible. I guarantee they're 16th in probably all of our power rankings this week. No, this is a bad team. They get the doors blown off of them. It takes some sort of weird Texas meltdown for this to even be close.
What if Trey Owens started at quarterback?
Trey Owens is good.
I know, but would they cover the 38?
Yes.
Does anybody here think that game stays? Does anybody think Texas wins this game by anything less than 40 points?
Are we entertaining this Trey Owens thing?
This is just in general.
Okay. Yeah. Jason raised his hand. I don't know.
Yeah, listen, I'm under the assumption, and maybe I'm wrong, that Arch is going to start, right? I just think common sense says, hey, if Quinn's even a little bit banged up, you keep him out for this game, get him healthy for Oklahoma and Georgia. Why take a risk this week? So to me, common sense tells me it's going to be Arch Manning. Maybe I'll be wrong. Okay, so that lowers the spread for me a little bit. I put my matchups out this morning. And like on paper, I've got Texas winning this game by like 60. I mean, Mississippi State is a horrible team. Like Anwar said, they're starting a true freshman quarterback, first ever start on the road, number one team in the country, really good defense. But it's still an SEC team that's got some good athletes on it. They're terrible at getting to the quarterback. They don't protect the quarterback very well. They're a bad football team. But I say a bad football team in the SEC is better than a bad football team like in the Big 12. So
is it? They got blown out by like Toledo.
I know. They're bad. They're bad. I know you're right. But I don't know. You're right. Maybe I'm getting too much benefit of the
I
doubt.
was gonna say that I don't know that's factual.
Yeah,
Jason.
I just think Texas is going to win easily, but 38's a lot of points for a conference game, even though I think probably all four of us are in agreement. We probably all four had Mississippi State as the worst team on our Big 12 rankings, right? I think easily. I'm not giving my score prediction right now. I'll get to that, and I haven't even done the math in my head, but I just think it's going to be under that 38. I think Texas calls off the dogs pretty early. They got a bye week. They want to keep guys from getting banged up. Let's keep them healthy going to the bye week. I think Texas calls off the dogs early, and I think it plays a little bit under that 38. I think if Sark wanted to, and if he kept his foot on the gas the whole game, yeah, Texas wins this game probably by 45.
So you think Mississippi State covers?
I do, not because they're a good team, and not because I think
Onward just told you there's no way.
I know, but not because I don't think Texas is incapable of covering. I just think the way the game plays out, maybe it's a backdoor cover by Mississippi State. I just think 38's a lot for a conference game, even though they're a bad football team.
You think Sark is just going to be like, I guess we'll just run it at starting at 3.5 quarters? He's like, Sark's got like 3 healthy running backs. Like,
that's true.
I don't know if he's just going to say, like, let's just run the ball.
Even their walk-ons banged up. Yeah.
I could see them not covering. I mean,
out.
I could see them not covering.
The walk-on is out.
Yes.
They've got Blue, Gibson, and that's it. From a health standpoint,
is Gardner out?
Is Wiseman questionable? I believe, right?
Did Velton Gardner get hurt?
He's out.
Okay, so they still have Niblett though.
They do have Niblett, who's like
the baseball player, converted football player, who's more of a fullback, but whatever.
Nick Sanders or whatever. Yeah,
that guy hasn't been getting playing time over the other walk-on.
Yeah.
He's going to have to this week, yeah. So.
Onward, just so you know, we'll go ahead and get into predictions before we get into the prize picks. I am picking Texas to cover. I'm just playing devil's advocate here because there will be a week at some point, right, during the season where they only win by 24, and they're you know what I mean, when they're favored by these monster numbers. I think it's one of the things that really stands out about this team is that Sark. And really the players, too, it's part of this culture thing that they're constantly referencing, is that don't play the opponent, play at a level that we need to worry about us and play to our level, and opponent be damned. Well, one of the things that we've seen this season is they've destroyed all of the point spreads that have been put in front of them, is that while they're not perfect, they're pretty perfect at least playing to a level where they beat the point spread. They're just getting challenged with that. Jason's not wrong. 38's a lot, man.
They've scored over 50 points in 3 games this year. They're winning games by an average of 48-5. That's their average. That's their average score through 4 games. It's 48-5. And if you believe in any numbers, and I can show you the numbers, I just did my show this morning, Mississippi State is horrible in damn near every category, Catch. Like, how about this?
Isn't the thing though? We would think. I think
Catch. Let's look at the numbers and just go through it and tell me, what do you see that would give anybody any belief or hope in Mississippi State?
I don't know. I'm like 2 feet from that skirt from the screen, and I can't read all of that.
You're old.
Hey, they're pretty good in pass efficiency. Of course, that's with a different quarterback. Hey, Anwar, look at their punting and punt returns.
Well, but I think the thing is, there's been and I think this goes back to what Jason was saying, right? He's like, they played La Monroe, they played UTSA, they played Michigan, they played Colorado State. The idea is that you arrive in conference play, and outside of that Michigan game, Mississippi State is supposed to be better than UTSA, La Monroe, and Colorado State. I'm just not sure they are. I'm not so certain that if La Monroe and Mississippi State lined up on a neutral field this week, that Mississippi State would absolutely beat La Monroe. I think they're a really bad team. Texas has played some teams at a Power 4 level, I think, are pretty bad. And, I'm picking Texas to cover, but there will be a point, presumably at some point at this season, where even when Texas wins by double digits, it won't be at the level. Maybe not. Maybe they're just going to keep blowing the doors off of teams. But I've had it in my head all week. Is this the week where they win by 28 and we all act like it's a bit of a disappointing performance? Because it's going to come. They're going to beat somebody pretty soundly, and the bar now has been raised to such a level that we're like, well, they left a lot of meat on the bone. It took until the fourth quarter before real separation occurred. That's not going to be this week, but I've been wondering when it might come.
Could come this week. If Texas wins by 28 or 30, there's not going to be anybody that's hanging their head around the.
Well, there'll be some bettors. There will be some.
Right. Well, yeah, of course.
There won't be anybody disappointed. Well, no, there would be some.
No, I said, there won't be anybody around the football building, right? Yeah. Like, they don't care. Like, they're like, oh, we just won by 30. They'll be like, that's actually really good for our point differential and stuff that go into the equations that they don't care about the lines. But so what is it? The spread or the over-under is what, 64? Isn't it 63.5, 64, something like that? And then
I thought the implied score was like 52.5 to 10.5.
Okay, yeah. So something else. It's 38. So they say 38. So that's what, 19. So 19 plus. Yeah, I'm say 51 to like 51ish, 13, something like that. 51, 13. That's kind of almost the score that I would expect. And if it were to go one way or the other, if they maybe were to, if Mississippi State falls into a touchdown and, I don't know, 3 field goals, that's like 16. If Texas scores 50, I could see something like that where Texas would still beat the brakes off them and Mississippi State could still be bad and they could not cover. It's a 38.5 point spread in a conference matchup. So I don't know. I haven't nailed down my exact prediction.
You better get it ready.
I know, but when I say it, I might say it and surprise myself and not have Texas covering, but still having them winning really soundly.
Anwar, lead us off. It's score prediction time.
I've got 55-13 is my thing. And honestly, I'm being generous with the 13. I don't see how this team moves up and down the field on this Texas defense. Like, I'm giving them maybe something late. Even Texas on defense is closing strong. So it's not like, all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, this defense somehow doesn't play tough. Like, this defense and all the guys that are coming off the bench are all hungry. Those guys are trying to eat as well. So I feel like their 13 is generous. I'm just giving it out of respect, not because I feel like they've earned it. 55-13 for me.
Jason, what about you?
I'm not as much as Anwar and I were kind of different in the beginning. We're not too far off. I'm at 45-13 because I think Texas calls off the dogs. And this is a true freshman.
That's like the ninth time you've said called off the dogs.
I need to come up with a new phrase. Takes its foot off the gas. How about that? Takes its foot off the gas. And this is a true freshman quarterback, but he's not a quarterback without talent. He was a Rivals 250 guy. So he's got a guy with, he's got some upside, I would say. And they're going to need him to get as many reps as possible. So Mississippi State is probably not going to pull him out early. Maybe they do to preserve his health, but I think they might leave him in, throw the ball around. Kind of with Anwar, getting to 13 seems to be a bit of a struggle to get. Like, I'm trying to picture, how does Mississippi State get to 13? Maybe it's a muffed punt, maybe it's an interception or something that sets them up for an easy score. But I almost think Texas is going to have to make a mistake for them to get to 13. But I've got Texas 45. Mississippi State 13. So easy win, but not quite covering the spread.
Alex.
I watched the Florida game back, and I was just trying to get my mind around this team. And one thing, Jason, you probably noted this in your matchups, they didn't just lose Shapen and have to replace him with Van Buren. They also lost Kevon Lee, which was their first running back.
He's their first running back, but people who cover the team say he's probably not their best running back.
Weirdly. I was gonna say it was almost like those number 20 and number 21. I forget their. Think Wood, maybe Devon something, and It doesn't matter their names. 20 and 21.
Yeah,
They're actually both kind of. They're actually kind of okay.
Johnny Daniels and Devon Booth.
I like Johnny Daniels a little bit better. And if you look at Cockamamie PFF, they actually have him at like 4.5 yards after contact per attempt and stuff. So he's not a bad runner. With that being said, dude, Van Buren, he's just. I mean, I think like Jason said, right? I mean, he was a 4-star guy, but and you can tell he's got a strong arm and probably some natural arm talent. He can move pretty well. Dude, he is out there just spraying that thing. He does you have no idea where this ball is going to end up, especially on the deep balls. I think Texas is going to get some picks here in this thing. I think they win soundly, but I just think just to troll the degenerate gamblers out there, I'm going to say Texas wins 48-10. And it's that hook on the 38 that ends up swindling you that they don't cover.
Alex, I think that I think that what you said is the thing that sticks out for me the most. I think Mississippi State's going to give Texas some points this weekend. So if Arch is the starter or Quinn is the starter, if they call the dogs off, sometimes you can call the dogs off and the points still come. And I think this Mississippi State team is ripe to give Texas some points. There's a part of me that wants to go in the 60s on this, that not because Texas provides like the most dominating performance of the season, but I think Mississippi State's going to be quite generous. I wouldn't be surprised if all three phases of the game score this weekend. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if the defense scores a couple of times. Silas Bolden or Matthew Golden, if Mississippi State's ever in a position to kick off more than once, it could be Matthew Golden. Maybe this is a Silas Bolden. Maybe there's a block punt, something. I think this is a game where all three phases score. I'm going to go 59-9. And in the end, I think I have the highest margin of victory for Texas in this game. I could totally see it playing as close as Alex has it in his head. But I think this is going to be a game where at the end of it, there's like 4 or 5 plays that are explosive, highlight kind of plays, not your 2-yard Jaden Blue touchdown plunge, but interception return, fumble return. They're going to cause some problems for that quarterback. And it's real easy for me to close my eyes and go, this is the week that Colin Simmons or even a Trey Moore gets to the quarterback, forces a fumble. Vernon Broughton or Alfred Collins pick it up. There's one. One of these Texas safeties is going to get a touchdown. I think they're going to absolutely slaughter Mississippi State, who, if they had any sense, would just tell Jeff Lebby to walk home at that point. He's completely over his head. They're just wasting time until they actually need to make another coaching change. This bad team, Texas is going to kill them. And the only question is whether or not Prize Picks is going to give us a bunch of entries on War that we can hit more on.
Well, the thing is, that's what this
everything.
I kept waiting for the Jaden Blue line to come up last week on Prize Picks. Because I'm like, man, whatever that touchdown thing is, I'm going to hit them more. And he kept scoring. I was like, damn it. I'm getting killed on some of my other Prize Picks, and I know I would have picked that one. So that's the only one. Hopefully, they were early, the other week, but this one they'll probably take a little bit of time. So there'll be a lot of Arch. I mean, here's the thing though, Catch. If they put out a 0.5 for Arch on the interceptions, do you take the more this week?
You read my mind. I think again, it always comes to that would have been the smartest of all of the smart plays with Arch. Although they did on the day of drop his. They did a promo right before the game started. I remember putting it out on Twitter. I think it dropped to 239.5. So I hit that on a couple of entries.
Thanks for the heads up, Catch.
I did. I tweeted it.
Oh, I'm not paying attention to your Twitter. You need to send a message in Teams.
I think I did.
No.
I mean, I remember when it happened, putting out the bat signal.
I would have lost anyways. It doesn't matter.
Well, I lost anyways. It didn't help. But onward to answer your question, probably. If Arch, is there a mistake to be made? I don't know that I look at this game and think it's going to be flawless, even though I've got such a big, margin of victory for Texas and a big point number for them. Yeah. I wonder if with Arch, because they set the 2.5 touchdowns last weekend as a Green Goblin. So that's supposed to be the layup. And he didn't hit that. So I wonder if there is – I felt they overinflated Arch's numbers a little bit.
But he should have had it. If Silas Bolden breaks one tackle, if Wingo doesn't get the pass interference, or
if he hits Jaden Blue in stride on that.
Oh God, I forgot that one. I mean, there's like 3 he left on the table.
But I wonder if because he came short, if they'll adjust that just a little. Because if you tell me that they set touchdown passes at 2.5, and it's not a Green Goblin, let's just say it's the regular entry, and that, if you wanted to make it a Red Demon that you had to go to 3.5, I would say take the 2.5, because I think him not getting 3 last week almost took an act of God.
Oh, yeah.
For him to not, because think about it, they got into the red zone, and I think one of the things that was going on in that game on War is Sark was like, it's not going to happen today. We are not going to exit this game with Arch having a 7 touchdown game where there's crazy talk. So they got into the red zone, and it was like Jaden Blue's getting the ball, and he's going to get 4 touchdowns, and Arch is not going to have a stat line at the end of the game that is the lead on SportsCenter, because they've got into the red zone so much this season. They've been so good at it, but they really throw the ball a lot in the red zone. And again, very good at it. Last week they got into the red zone, and it correlated with wanting to get Jaden Blue more carries, to get him, I think, ready for conference play, because they do view him as their number 1 running back, and they're going to want a real heavy contribution. And, you didn't want to get 4 weeks into the season, a third of the way through, all the way through conference play, and your starting running back not have been tested yet. So the two things did correlate, but, they get down inside the 5-yard line, and they could have easily thrown the ball in that situation and gotten into the end zone. And instead it went to Jaden Blue almost every time. Wouldn't be completely – you're right. If they give Jaden Blue numbers this weekend, it might be another hammer the Jaden Blue touchdowns when it's all said and done, because he's going to, I think, get the volume when they get close.
Well, Catch, I think I'm sorry, Jason.
No. I was just saying, Anwar probably named my 2 favorite plays, Jaden Blue, and if there's an Arch interception, he's a young quarterback. He's probably going to make a mistake. I had those in my head before Anwar said it. Take the Jaden Blue, touchdowns, combo, receiving yards, rushing, whatever you want to do, pick one, and then if they have an Arch interception, take it. And I think those are probably my 2 favorite plays. Sorry, Alex, go ahead.
No, it's fine. Big Tex in the chat says, how do you even pull up the Texas players on Prize Picks? I can't find them. Big Tex, they don't have them up yet. They might be waiting on some more news about Quinn Ewers, because they have to run projections based on a quarterback, and you break it down from the team level from there. So, so we're just talking about what we think they should be. And dude, I think the lock of all locks is just whatever they put up for the Jaden Blue receiving. I think it'll come down a little bit, because last week he didn't do much in the receptions department, but dude, he was the team leader in targets. I don't know how that happened, that he had like 6 or 7 targets. I was like, after I tallied him, I'm like, how did he only, I think he only caught did you guys have 1 catch last week?
Yeah. 1 for 3. Right? Yeah. Because
but dude, he had a 25% target share. It's like he had the highest target share of any player on the Texas offense has had any game all season. It's like, that's totally misleading. So I think that if they take down his receiving yards, think like 19.5 or something like that, it's just the epic lock. It's just a lock. They use him in a way that's even unlike they would use guys like, they wouldn't even throw the ball to like Bijan and stuff like this. It's crazy, man. And now with everybody hurt, it's like Wisner can catch if that guy can't go and all these other running backs hurt. I think for the Jaden Blue, the more for me on the receiving yards is the one that I'll be looking at the hardest. And I'm hoping they put it like 18.5, 19.5, because we've been able to get it before. What haven't we taken that thing up to like? Wasn't that like 23.5 or something like that?
No, against Michigan, it was 17.5. So remember, so it was like 13.5, and he had 37 yards receiving. And then they bumped it up to 17.5. At least that's what I got it.
Okay, maybe I'm remembering it wrong, I guess.
And then he got 37 against Michigan. And then he missed the next week, so he didn't have any numbers on Prize Picks. And then last week they only gave us Arch for Texas. So the 2 times that they've done Blue in the passing game, it was really low in week 1. In fact, I'm sure I can go to my past entries.
So they might even bring it down from that catch after they see him. After they see him,
I think it's more likely that we don't get what's different. Last week they knew that Arch was starting, and they didn't give the rest of the offense any entries.
Yeah, but this week they've had okay, but this week they've at least seen Arch once, and their projections team can at least go based on that.
Yeah, I just, let's do the thing where I'll set some numbers and you tell me if they're too high or too low. If I set Jaden Blue at 99.5 rushing yards.
More. That's a big number, but I'm still going more.
What would you take? 123.5 rushing plus receiving?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Well, it's not going to be higher than that.
No, I don't think so. I think hammer Blue, but
Arizona State rushed for 346 yards against this defense. So, I mean, Texas should be able to gouge them. Florida ran it pretty
Blue has the kind of game where he blows that thing out of the water after the game that he just had. People are going to start talking about him for the Doak.
No, he's only had 1 game.
I'm saying if he has another one.
I don't know. I think he's 5 games away from that, but you might be right. By the way, I had let me see, what did they have Blue in week 1? I've played a ton of Jaden Blue in week 1. I'm just trying to find the receiving yards. It was definitely 17.5 against Michigan. And they had, what was he? I guess that's the only one I can find. I felt like I had anyway. If I set,
they had him 17.5 for Michigan. Oh, I just skipped over. I'm sorry. Sorry, go ahead, catch.
No, if I set Gunnar Helm at 40 receiving yards on Saturday, and Arch is the quarterback,
I stay away. It's a pretty good line catch.
Arch doesn't throw the ball to he wants to go vertical and down the field. So that means that Gunnar Helms, at least a week ago, was kind of neutered in the passing game. You wouldn't have known that Texas has arguably the best tight end in the country based on the
Sark said some of that was by design. They went into that game thinking, hey, we are going to push the ball downfield because of the way they play defense. And obviously Arch can throw the ball. So maybe they don't take as many deep shots. And you heard Sark say on Monday also they want Arch to do more check downs. So, I wouldn't base – I agree with you. He doesn't target the tight end the way Quinn seems to, but maybe last week was a little bit of an anomaly. Maybe that changes a little bit this week just based on some of the things Sark said on Monday. My point is I'm with Alex. I guess I stay away from it. Yeah.
If I said Isaiah Bond at 69.5.
It's just so hard for me, Catch. Like whenever you look at this, it just changes from week to week. They really there's not Sark wasn't lying at the beginning of the season whenever he said, "Man, we're going to play all these guys. We're going to get them all the football, right? These guys have between from Wingo all the way up. These guys have target shares from anywhere from like 8% to 16%. It's like some of these dudes." If these like the guys that you want to play in say fantasy football and stuff like that, they're the big target earners in the NFL. These guys have 25 to 30% target shares, man. There's not really a dude like that you can count on in the Texas offense ever. There hasn't been one all year, so it's hard to know. Is it Golden Week? Is it Bond Week? Could it be a big Wingo? I don't know. I would like to, if I close my eyes and just picture it in my head, of course I see Arch delivering at least one bomb to Isaiah Bond that could get him there on one single play.
Yeah, that's what I'm taking the more. They're going to take a couple shots downfield to Bond. And hey, off subject, guys, real quick, for everybody watching, there is a discounted play on the college football game tonight. RJ Harvey, UCF running back versus Colorado, discounted from 117.5 rushing yards all the way down to 77.5. So,
is that game tonight?
Jason, fool's gold.
Yeah, that's probably
they
is.
know something about RJ Harvey.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know much. I don't know enough about UCF and their running back, but I'm assuming Prize Picks knows.
Hey, let me read you his last 5 games though: 136, 120, 142, 126, 180.
Yeah, I mean they've discounted.
I don't even know who the dude is. He puts up big numbers. Okay, so
you have to take it. You have to,
of course.
Yeah. And it's Colorado, right? They're playing Colorado, right?
But that's not tonight. That's just like last week when I got swindled into thinking Colorado was playing on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right, Alex. It says Thursday, 11 a.m.
I got so excited for the big Baylor-Colorado game last Thursday.
But it does say 11 a.m., so does it come
That's
off the board?
deadline. That must be the deadline.
Yeah, it comes off the board at 11 a.m. So if you're watching this game, you need to get your pick.
You have 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Are there college games tonight that you can pair this with?
Yes.
I'm sure there are. I don't know.
There's Temple and Army play tonight.
Oh, God.
Hey, Alex didn't ask, is there a good game to pair this with? He said, are there any games to pair this with? And yes, Temple plays Army tonight. And of course, you can go over to the NFL side. It's Cowboys Giants tonight.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
We
need a better one than Ramondre Stevenson this week, Catch.
The thing is, neither one of them hit.
Justin or that one didn't.
Jason got screwed on the Bryce Hall receptions. He got stuck at 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't relitigate that for you, Jason. It was a bad beat. But Stevenson didn't get a target.
He never got a target. What are they even doing?
He didn't get a single target.
Those Patriots. Those Patriots. It's just gosh.
I blame you, Alex, because the problem is the week after you're like the Patriots. I should have known. You can't trust the Patriots.
No, it's after that. It's after that I say this about the Patriots. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, it was like Gerard Mayo was saying the whole week, like Ramondre is our biggest playmaker on offense. We need to get the ball in his hands more. It's like, of course he's going to get at least 3.5 targets. You kidding me?
I kept waiting for it to get refunded because I was like, he must be hurt.
He's hurt or something. Yeah, dude.
Looking in the play-by-play of the game for a target, and one never showed up.
Yeah.
Real quick, as we wrap up the show, let's do some. I'm looking at tonight. This feels like a game for me where the Cowboys bounce back a little bit. I am captain. The Cowboys are a yo-yo team. It's Thursday night. It's not a good Giants team. I'm looking at CeeDee Lamb at 82.5 yards. God, he was bad last week. He was so bad. And they were beaten so soundly before that comeback late. I have to believe that this is going to be a CeeDee Lamb game. I don't even know if the Cowboys are going to win, but I think they will put up some points. So I do like, if you're looking for some action tonight, I do like the CeeDee Lamb receiving yards more than 82.5. He's due for one of those games where they just throw it to him 10 times.
And it's an incredible matchup. That's a good call. I'm putting that in. I'm also going to make it a 3. I'm going to put in Malik Neighbors too. More.
In fact, they've got CeeDee Lamb's targets at 9.5. So, like I said, this feels like one of these games where CeeDee's going to get 10 catches. I think the 9.5 targets may be too low. Pick a CD. I really believe this could be a game where you might even go after the fantasy score of 17.5. Because
are you going to pair him with Dak? Because if CD goes off, Dak's probably going to do well, or at least go.
Well, they've got Dak's passing yards at 263.5. I'm inclined to take the more on that.
Bad news, Catch, but I'm already on the CD Lamb one too. So with the way you and I've been playing lately,
if there's a consensus, I would do the opposite.
Dude, if they
whatever the OB consensus is, do the opposite.
That's true. Don't fade us. Fade play us. Just do it the opposite way. They got Ezekiel Elliott listed at 27.5 rushing yards, and that feels about 22 yards too high. He's so bad. The Cowboys' running game is so bad. And I think Neighbors is going to get his. So just find your biggest Neighbors. Wasn't Cody posting some numbers yesterday that Neighbors is on track for 1,600 yards and 17 touchdowns or something bananas like that?
He's the offense, man. It's like I put together the stuff with the route percentages and the air yard percentage, the target shares, all that stuff like that. Just the ancillary things that I might not just look at or take into account for my expected points model every week for the rankings. And last week, Malik Neighbors came out as the wide receiver 1 for the week.
What was he drafted?
What
was his average draft spot?
It got to late fifth round in 12 team leagues, but we were taking him in the kind of mid fourth. We basically got him in like 85% of the leagues that used our cheat sheets. So it's been good, but we just need to hold on. Like that's a lot of exposure. So we just need to make sure that this dude doesn't get hurt. And the other thing is I'm starting to worry that, soon teams are just going to have to start double teaming him. They're going to say, dude, we're not going to let you do this. We're like, you're going to have to beat us with like Darius Slayton or Wandale Robinson or something like that. But,
can I tell you guys my favorite entry of the week? Hands down, it's my guaranteed Thursday lock of the week. And here's how I'll do it. Anwar, don't peek. Okay? There's a CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors combo receiving yards.
Oh, I got to get that.
If in your mind, those two guys together, the receiving yards should be what combined?
Well, what do you think? Like 165, something like that?
Yeah, 153.5 right now.
I'm seeing 169.8 as the median projection.
Prize Picks has them up right now.
Yeah,
as a 153.5. That's both of those guys going under 80 for each, and they actually clear that number relatively easily. So I don't know what I'm pairing that with, but I wouldn't be completely shocked if one of those two guys goes for 120, 125 and just leaves a little bit of lifting. You know what that feels like when you're watching Family Feud and they do the rounds at the end and the first person goes through and the goal is to get to 200 and the first person gets like 165 and the second guy rolls up and it's like, what do I got to get? 37? And then it's a layup. That's kind of how I feel about this. At least one of those two guys will have a fairly big night, and then the other guys just got to do a little bit of lifting to get to 153. I love it. That's my mortal lock of the week. South End Zone Queen. If you're watching, that means take the less. That means based on everything that I've been doing on Prize Picks since the Michigan game, I'm in a rut, a big rut. That's probably what I get for involving myself with Jackson Arnold last weekend. Yeah. They don't do refunds for benching. They'll do it for a sprained ankle, but they won't do it for benching, which is really disappointing when you do I thought Tennessee would score so many points that Oklahoma would be throwing the ball a lot in the second half to keep up. They were. He just wasn't on the field. All right, Anwar, any final thoughts?
Well, I'm looking at some of the weather. There's a chance of thunderstorms tonight at East Rutherford. So
right after I put in my entry. Oh God.
just as a side note, so take that into consideration.
Keep in mind they're doing this Caleb Williams 0.5 passing yards. That's every week, I think.
Yeah, they're doing it every week of September. So this is the last one.
So I'm telling you right now, it's just in September?
Yeah.
I'm doing it right now. I'm pairing Caleb with CD and Neighbors. And I'm going to throw in the Dak Prescott 1.5 Green Goblins. So I'm going to go 25 to win 112.5. 25 to win 112 with the Caleb Williams freebie, the Dak Prescott more on the 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's a Green Goblin. And the more on the CD Malik Neighbors receiving yards at 153.5. I have officially submitted that. I'm sorry to everybody involved. I feel like somebody's going to have both of those guys are going to have horrible games. Caleb will go -7 passing yards. I've been on a real bad streak. What about you, Anwar? Are you running hot these days?
Close. I'm close, but no. I'm close enough, but something that happens in each game. So this is actually one of the slower starts that I've had. It'll pick up, but for right now, it's a slow start.
Did you guys see? I sent it in teams. I had another one last week. I hit 3 out of 3 or 4 out of 4. What? But I missed winning because I didn't do a flex. I did the all-in one. And the one guy cost me, I needed one more yard. So that's twice this year I've missed. It would have been a $100 hit. I had the Kansas City tight end. He got me 13 yards. I needed the line was 13.5. All my other plays in that entry hit. So it's just karma is not on my side this year with price.
Hey, Anwar, I'll end it on this. I had a 4-pick entry last week where I missed 3 of the 4. Okay. Let me tell you what they were. I missed Arch on the 2.5 passing touchdowns. I took the more.
Yeah.
I missed Nico Iamaliva from Tennessee on the more on 1.5 passing touchdowns. I missed the more on OU wide receiver Deion Burks. They had him at 6 receptions. He had 4. The only person that hit. You want to take a guess? What would make you and I? It's just you and I. You and I are having a conversation.
Aaron Rodgers.
Hudson Card.
Oh.
I played with 0.5 passing touchdowns for Hudson Card. So ironically, the only entry that hit in a $50 power play that I did last week was a guy who's been pretty awful, just all things considered. But wow. He at least threw a touchdown pass. But I digress. I mean, I missed on everything last week. It was a disaster.
That's tough to do. Well, maybe this week it all flips.
Mainly because I went Arch Manning more than 2.5 passing touchdowns in like 5 different entries. I was convinced. And it took an act of God. Otherwise, he would have easily hit 3. I feel like God took the less on Arch's touchdowns, and that explains Alex the overthrow.
No, I think maybe what he did was he made Jake Majors turn his back to the A gap and allow that
hit. Come on, God, help us out this week. All right, guys, we got to wrap up in part because I have to record another show here in -2 minutes. For myself, Jason, what do we got? A $2 super chat. Smash the under on Daniel Jones's rushing yards.
Very, very well noted. Thank you, Buck Wild.
Thank
Longhorn.
you, Buck Wild. Don't think that if we do that and it misses, that we won't come back and slander you on the next show. That's how this works. I get slandered. Anwar gets slandered. And if you send a super chat saying to smash a number and it misses because we played it, we're going to call you out. That's just the way it works on these shows. Guys, good stuff. Everybody, there it is again. Play $5. Get 50 instantly on Prize Picks when you use that promo code Orange Bloods. God, what's better than that? Hey, I'm going to put $5 in and I'm going to get 10 times back. Yeah, man, get that done today. If you've never played Prize Picks before, why wouldn't you with that offer out there? I mean, get paid already. For myself, Jason, Alex, and Anwar, you guys have a great rest of the day. We got House Divided coming up in a little bit, football with friends, old fashioned tomorrow. We have our standard slate of shows the rest of the week leading into Saturday's action. For all of us, hey man, thanks for giving us a little bit of your time. We will see you later in the week. Hit that thumbs up button.